Hello, welcome to the channel and thanks for joining me. So I recently had a consignment of vintage electronic games in. I think we had Munchman, Stargate, Firefox, Astro Wars, and there was a pool game as well, Cue Ball I think. So I walked through those in some detail, had a look at them to see what the issues were and what we needed to do to them. And I'm just picking them off one at a time in some really short videos. So this one's the Astro Wars overhaul. Just a quick recap on it really. It's dirty, it's pretty grimy. I don't know if you'll see that, but yeah, it sure is in need of a deep clean. The screen is kind of it's kind of dusty and grimy and in need of a decent polish. The paintwork could do with touching up, and it's missing a battery cover as well, and that spring is proper stretched out. I can only imagine someone may have had an issue with the contact at some point and thought the best thing to do would be to pull the spring out, because that's made it look a bit unsightly and needs to be set back in its place or maybe even replaced. So what we're just going to do is give this a deep clean. We'll strip it down, clean the contacts, check everything over, refresh the paintwork a little bit on the front, get a new replacement battery cover and possibly a new spring in it as well. So as they say in YouTube land, with all that being said, let's dive in. So I hate that, that's not my thing at all. I'm far too old school for that. Perhaps I should get down with the kids. The only trouble with that is that kids don't say get down with the kids, do they? Anyway, this is a vintage repair video, not an insight into changing cultures. And there we go. So we'll move that part to one side. There's the fire button with the spring. We've got the little joystick felt pad. We've got the on off button, the select button, the start button. We'll strip out the carbon contacts for the select, start and fire buttons. Give those a clean. Get the speaker cover off, and then whip in and remove the front cover as well. So there's your lens. It's actually a monochromatic VFD display, but you get your coloured lens across the top. That's what gives the colour to the different ships. And we can see in there it's actually in pretty good condition, to be honest. Yeah, everything looks okay there. Yep, just checking over the transistors and the caps. You don't tend to get much trouble with these. They either work or they don't, and if they don't, it's to do with various diodes and transistors on there. But this all looks good. Just giving it a cursory check. We know from before that it worked anyways, so not too worried about any of that. Right, first things first, let's clean these controls up. Just freshening up the carbon contacts. Nice. And while I'm in here, clean those hard to reach areas as well on the contact buttons. It's nice to disinfect down into the nooks and crannies. Grotty teenage fingers have been all these years. Marvellous. Happy days. Nicer to clean these whilst you can get to them rather than struggling from above when it's all reassembled. Okay, now you'll see the little slider pins perhaps on there, and that's what bridges the gap when you slide the on off button across. So I peel them across gently just to bring some spring back, and also just put a touch of grease just across the power slider as well. Just makes it much smoother and a better response when we come to power the unit up later. This one was a bit wishy-washy from memory. Good. And also I sometimes just give a gentle pull on the fire button spring just give a tiny bit more bounce back to that as well, because that will have taken a pounding over the years. Okay, so next thing we want to do is just look at this battery contact, see if we can't sort the spring out on that. It's pretty shonky, so we'll just try and tidy that up a little bit, I think. And I'll just double check, and yes, it's that single battery contact over here, so we'll desolder that really quickly. That's it. And we can gently peel the contacts. I don't think we need to remove any of the solder, so I'm just going to pull this out if I can. There we go. And there's your spring on there. So the options are find a donor unit. So I've got a Star Force here that I could pinch the spring off. That's in really good condition. It's exactly the same battery contact, but this is supposed to be cheap and cheerful, isn't it? We got this as part of a consignment, so I think what I'm going to do with this is just straighten it up a little bit. I'll clean up the base plate as well. Basically just get some pliers on this, reform some sort of spring, just tidy it up a little bit, and yeah, we should be all right with that, I think. So I'm just going to do this. I'll be back in a moment when I've bent this into some sort of shape. There we go. I don't know if you'll see that, but it's compressed a bit more now. It looks a bit more like a spring, and I've cleaned up all the contact as well behind it, so we should be able to drop this back through there like so, and then we'll just solder up the other side and put it back from whence it came. And just while I'm warming the iron up again, just have a cursory little dust around inside the actual casing here. It's not too bad, to be honest, considering how grubby the outside is, but nice just to have a little clean up as we go anyway. Bit more flux. Okay, well that's the battery contact sorted. This can all go back now. And of course this is the time at which you would normally change the DC input jack if you needed to. Now of course we don't need to do that today because on a previous test we knew it was okay, so that's fine. What we can do though is just put these carbon contacts back in place. That'll give us nice responsive controls then. However, before we put the front casing on, I want to give this a clean. You can see it's pretty grotty, so first thing I'm going to do is give it a clean, then I'll polish it, then I'm going to put a little bit of paint, especially just on these two arrows, because that can make all the difference between a tidy and a worn looking unit. There we go, we've cleaned, polished and buffed the faceplate. Now we need to just touch up some of the paint, especially for these arrows. So I'm now going to use some alcohol to clean those areas back off so that I can apply the paint. If we do it the other way round, you've got to wait for the paint to actually dry and cure properly before you can even start to buff and polish it. But this way round, we can clean it first, then put the paint on, and then go and move on to cleaning and sorting the rest of the unit whilst that paint cures. Just saves time. It's a bit like when you make a cup of coffee or something. There's no point boiling the kettle last. You put the kettle on first because that's the time limiting factor. Right, anyway, we might do the on off just for a bit of fun. Not saying that'll be perfect, but it will give us a bit of something there. And we'll do these two arrows as well. So there we go, that's the on off and the arrow buttons for the direction. I've also touched up a couple of the other areas as well, like the F in fire. Nothing too crazy, haven't got to be perfect, but it certainly will be a lot more presentable than it was. And just while the paint's drying, we'll have a look at the front casing as well. To be honest, there's no need to remove this particularly, but as we're here, we might as well. So there's the Fresnel screen coming out. Also remove the little backing plate there, the little star galaxy kind of scenery if you like. And we can remove the screen. There we go. And that leaves us with the main housing plus the screen itself. Well, as the screen is here, we'll do this one first. So I'm just going to give this a wipe. And I'm hopeful that whatever it is that's on that screen will come off. Yeah. Nice. So it's not paint. I think we got lucky there, whatever it is. Cool. So just give that a nice gentle wipe. And time for a little bit of T-cut as well. And I'm not going to go mad on this. This particular game will clean up quite nicely, better than it was before, that's for sure. But I'm not going to spend too long polishing this screen. Sometimes you can get pretty much every mark out, depending on how damaged it already is. But this is really just a cursory deglazing, just try and get some of that cloudiness off the front. So I'm just going to polish this for a minute, let it dry, wipe it all off, get some Windex on the back, run a duster just over all the internals as well, and then we'll move on to the silver case. And there's the screen. Again, not perfect, but certainly a lot cleaner. It's got a bit of crazing in it and what have you, but not cloudy like it was. And finally then, the silver casing. Now you can sand this down and respray it if you wanted to, but I'm going for the genuine, authentic look, because I really don't think it's that bad, to be honest. I think once it's had a wipe, I'll just zoom out a touch, but once it's had a decent wipe down and a bit of a polish, this was never going to be a mint unit anyway, so I like the honesty of it. It's had some play wear. It works perfectly well, I have to say, especially once all the controls have been cleaned as they have. So this will provide plenty of enjoyment for somebody. There's no point going to the time, effort and expense of sanding it, priming it, painting it, lacquering it, buffering it all up. Sort of just chatting away here while I'm doing this. So anyway, I'm going to carry on just cleaning this, then I'll put some sort of plastic treatment, vinyl treatment on this, buff that. I'll be back in a second. Okay guys, so the battery spring has been sorted, the retention plate for the VFD screen has been screwed back on. We've got a whole bunch of parts here. We've not had a musical montage for a little while, so let's run some tunes, get this thing back together. that's that sorted. All she needs now is a decent clean and a polish on the bottom, and we'll go and find a battery cover, have a final reveal. So here it is then, Astro Wars from Grandstand 1981. This is the one that came in as part of the consignment. It had been a little bit unloved, shall we say. It was really dirty and grimy. It'd been very well used and enjoyed, I'm sure. It was sort of marked up and the paint had worn off the control panel. Cloudy screen and properly bent battery contact. It was just needed some TLC. So all we've done today is give it a total strip down, clean the internals of the controls to make those super responsive. We've given it a nice clean. You can see the paintwork reflecting there actually. That's just beautiful. Yep, just sorted it out really, restored some of the paintwork, checked the controls over. Also, of course, sorted the battery contact out a little bit better and got a replacement battery cover for it. So all that remains, I've not actually done this yet, foolishly, but let's get these batteries in. Now, Astro Wars is notorious for throwing the batteries out when you're trying to put them in, so we'll see how we get on. Like so. Battery cover locks in beautifully, as you can see, and let's see if it fires up. Just the ticket. Now I'll turn one of the lights off. I don't know if you'll see much in there, to be honest. Possibly see it working, but anyway, let's go select. Yeah, really responsive buttons, and I'm just playing this as I'm talking to you. Lovely fire button on that. Yeah, everything's working beautifully. So good stuff. There it is, all sorted. Very quick video today just to show you how to do a total strip down and quick refurbishment, taking something that was a bit tired, forlorn, unloved, and turned it into something that can be enjoyed reliably once again. So thanks ever so much for watching. Go and check out the unboxing video where I took the consignment in. I've still got Munchman, Stargate, Firefox, and I think Cue Ball to look at as well, so I'll do those in separate videos. But thanks for watching. As I say, I'll be back soon. You guys stay safe. I'll see you then. Bye bye for now.